gonna leave us, huh?
Yep. Just gonna take off. Give you the old Irish goodbye.
Well, air them socks out.
Yep. Hopefully they become
Good luck in Missouri.
uncrusty. Yep, you too. See ya. It's a hot one, eh?
Yeah, it is. On the Weather Channel, it said 86 for a high today. But anyways, Grant and I are heading back into the spot that we observed last night. Today it's probably 5 to 7 degrees warmer, and it's supposed to stay hot all the way up until the end of legal shooting time. I don't think the deer are going to move nearly as well as they did last night, but the good thing of hunting right in their bedding area, or real close to where they're bedding, is that if they get up at all and start moving a little bit at the end of legal shooting time, we should still be in position. Grant will probably hunt tomorrow, but I've got a full day of editing ahead of me tomorrow. I think we've been here for about 10 days now, and I've hunted for about 3.5 days and have been editing the rest of the time. So anyways, this is my last effort, and then Grant will have some time to self-film and
Yeah.
see what you can come up with.
I'm excited for you tonight, though. I mean, this is your hunt. You've been scouting this hard, home state. We got some good ones in there for you.
Yep. So hopefully it all comes together tonight, and if not, then I'm planning a return trip in probably late October or November. Well, things went pretty smooth getting in here. We're not very high off the ground. Maybe 6 feet up, but the ground slopes off. So we're set up on the edge of the marsh in this little cluster of oaks. And as you can tell, it's just thick and nasty out there. All kinds of bedding cover. There's a scrape right underneath this, what is it, an ash tree or an elm that's kind of laid over. Scrape right at the point of it. And then a major trail, all necks down right there. There, he's sneezing again. Got a deer close somewhere. About 50, but I'm fairly sure he's gonna walk right through here. Okay. He's heading towards us. Yep. Just took off. I didn't think he'd do that. He was at eye level with us because he was up the slope. We're only 6 feet off the ground on this
for sure.
He just made a mad dash for it.
Yeah.
He stood out there for probably 3-4 minutes just looking around.
Man, it would have been perfect had I been facing that way. I just couldn't turn on. He was acting real wiry out there, just acting like something was up. Circled around and then just ran by us at 20 yards right there and stood behind us at 20 feet. If I had been facing the other way, I could have drawn back and just put the full sight housing on him.
There's a little rub right there.
Yeah.
Obviously there's a trail that comes up here. I just wasn't expecting that.
Not at all. I thought he was going to do it perfect right through here. I was going to shoot him there at 7 yards. That's
Hey,
all
they're
right.
up on their feet and we got plenty of daylight.
Yeah.
Well, we're winding things down here. We've got 10 to 15 minutes left in a relatively slow evening overall, at least compared to what we saw moving last night. But I was kind of expecting that with how hot it got today, how humid it is, and the fact that it's just not cooling down. But either way, it's been fun coming back into this marsh. The long hikes, the deer that we've seen, just the anticipation of being in a spot where you feel like a giant could stand up at any point and start heading your way. 10 minutes left.
See what happens.
Can we get a last minute miracle? Well, it's good exercise for Mindy's and my trip to Colorado, Rocky Mountain National Park. Gonna be doing a bunch of hiking here in a week. It's gonna make all the other hikes that we do throughout most of the rest of the deer season seem easy.
You
There
can
you
sleep
go.
in finally. You can finally sleep.
I can only sleep a little bit because it's gonna take me probably all day to edit the next show. But that's how the deer tour goes. It's an exciting time right now. We got Jake out with Ted Miller right now in Wyoming, elk hunting. Zach sounds like he had a pretty awesome elk hunt in Colorado. I think he's still hunting with Ben right now. Aaron, Ted, and Dylan are hunting Missouri. So we got guys all over the place hunting elk, whitetails. Grant's got one more day. Maybe you can get it done tomorrow.
Good morning, folks. It's Friday, and this is the last day of our Nebraska hunt. I'm hiking in here. I got still quite a ways ahead of me. Going back into the spot that Greg and I were at last night. It's about 3 miles deep into this piece. It's just me today. Greg has been working his tail off, editing day and night, trying to get these videos out for you guys. So Greg decided that if he was gonna get a video out tonight, he needed to spend the day editing. So it's just me out here. I'm gonna try my hand at self-filming. I've got a camera arm, I've got a GoPro, and I've got a main camera. So I'm just gonna hike in here this morning. I'm planning on spending the full day out here actually. And then midday, once things get windy, I'm gonna still hunt around. If all that doesn't work out, my plan is to head back into that same swamp that Greg and I hunted last night. I'm just gonna keep grinding away here and
Finally got set up here. It took me way longer to get in and get set up than I thought it would. It's tricky. I was trying to find a tree that would be suitable for self-filming, but also be in a good position to kill a buck. This tree is pretty nice because it's got 2 trunks. So I could hook my saddle onto one, and then I hook the camera onto the one in front of me. I've got a trail running down in front of me at about 2 yards. And I actually had a doe and a fawn walk by me as I was setting up. Of course, the camera was on the ground, but it just proves how silently you can get in here with this wind. I've heard a deer sneeze a couple times off to my right, and it's not the doe and fawn because they went off to the left. It's funny, just about every deer I see in here is sneezing. That buck last night was. The doe and fawn actually were, and then this one over here. If they walk through here, they're going to be right up in my grill, and I'm going to have to get the camera set, draw my bow, and shoot them. And it's probably going to be pretty close. Or they hug the opposite side of the creek, which I think I'd prefer. The opposite side of the creek is about 20-30 yards. But I feel pretty good about this spot. There's definitely deer in here. That doe and fawn got up just out of some brush, maybe 40 yards away from where I was setting up. They had no clue I was here. If they keep sneezing though, that might help me out. Well, that's gonna wrap it up for my Nebraska trip. It's a cool way to end, but just frustrating. That's 4 times now that I've had a shooter buck in range and I just couldn't shoot. Whether it be something in the way, too dark or what. That was just a little too dark, I know. It probably looked fine on the camera. I was able to crank the camera settings way up and get a little bit of an image of that buck, but I couldn't see my pens at all, and to shoot at an alert deer at 30 yards in the dark is not smart. So I didn't take that shot. Man, I cannot believe that though. We're getting here towards the waning hours of light and no bucks were around, so I just ripped a quick snort-wheeze, raked this tree a little bit like something making a scrape or rub or whatever. And 2 bucks came hauling in. That little one came in first, just extremely out of breath. I couldn't shoot him because I was trying to film the thing, and this whole self-filming thing is a bear. But that was really cool. That little one came running in. He was all out of breath. He was just looking around. He ran straight to the tree. And then I heard a grunt in the distance, so I figured it was a bigger buck. So I did the call again. I did a snort-wheeze, raked the tree, and he came running in. It was a nice buck, definite shooter. But man, it's been a fun trip. We've definitely been in them. Like I said, that's my 4th opportunity. A buck in range where I couldn't shoot. So it's just frustrating, but it's better than no bucks in range, I suppose. Cool experience for sure. Hopefully that footage is good. Props to everyone out there who self-films. I've dabbled with it a little bit, but man, it's just so much going on. And trying to get focused on that buck, move with that buck on the camera, get your bow off the hanger, get your release on, see what range he is, and then move the camera again. There's just a lot of moving parts, and I think a lot of times the deer end up seeing you moving around, which is what happened with that deer. Shoot, well, I suppose I better start hiking out of here. I got a long ways out. Kind of dreading it. Very much so dreading it, but I know that water awaits me on the other side.
Nebraska has been more than good to me. I wish I could have filled a tag, but in my book, those experiences were well worth the money I paid for it. So thanks guys for watching, and stay tuned. There's some wild times a coming.